Welcome, and thanks for listening to Cli-MATES, an energy podcast dedicated to discussing all things energy, carbon, and sustainability. We also want to point out what's getting hot, aside from our planet. I'm your host, Edia, and today I'm joined with my carbon climate and co-host, Alison, who I will be introducing shortly. Before we get into today's topic, Alison, how's your week been? And can you tell me a bit about yourself? Well, not me, sorry. Us about yourself.
Well, it depends what you want to know about my week. Are we talking work week? Are we talking life week?
Let's say both, because this is carbon Cli-MATES after all. Like, we're all mates here.
I see what you did there. I like that. That's good. That's good. Work-wise, pretty good. Pretty solid work going on. Life-wise, I spend a lot of time with my dogs, and that is the height of it. It is a lot of outdoors, greenery, and fun.
Lovely. Yeah. What are their names for the audience?
I have two springers, Todd and Fern, who are just as crazy as I am, so we get on really well.
Brilliant. And so, what is your job title?
Oh, how long have we got for this conversation? I started originally, I was a simulation engineer. I then transitioned and turned into a visualization specialist, and yes, it was an invented term and I am okay with that. And currently I am an associate. Yep, that's me.
Very impressive stuff. And so just how long have you been in the energy sector?
Ooh, 6 years now. Probably not as much as other people, but
wow.
Carved a little path. We're sticking with it. We like the climate. We like everything energy. We're sticking with it.
You're in really deep now, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in it. I'm in completely. I'm invested.
And see at school, did you ever envisage yourself in this role?
Oh, does anybody? Did this industry exist when we were at school? I doubt it. It probably did, actually. We just didn't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's that's a really good point, yeah.
But no, I didn't know it existed, so I had no plans for it. I wanted to work in theatre and performance technology or animation.
Okay, yeah.
I do neither of those things now.
That is, wow. What is it? Those all kind of maybe circle or have some sort of relation to maybe what we do now, but also today's topic.
Yes.
Which we're going to talk about.
All the fun things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All the technical things. Love it.
But but thanks very much for explaining more just about your role and just a bit about yourself. But I just have one question for you.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, one question, but Naomi Campbell, Kate Moss, Kendall Jenner, myself, what do all these things have in common?
Oh, I can't cope with this. Are you supermodels?
That's it. Oh, correct. They're all models. Okay. And
that is spectacular.
And that brings us to today's topic. Modelling. More specifically, building modelling. More specifically, building information modelling. Or what's known in the industry as BIM. Which we use as a big part in our jobs as energy and sustainability engineers. But yeah, architects, engineers, and most professions in the construction industry will know what BIM means. But for those of you who don't, BIM is when a digital model of a building is created through CAD, which stands for Computer Aided Design Software. And as energy assessors, we often use 3D models of this. We then populate this model with information on the building itself, such as the types of walls, windows, heating, ventilation, lighting. The list is endless. Okay, well, the list is actually finite, but I'll stop there, or it's just going to be a podcast of me listing things. We then simulate the model in specialized software to get an output of energy and carbon usage for the building. So, Alison, talking about your role, you you build models, and you build them from scratch. What exact process do you go through to build a 3D model?
Oh, this is a good one. BIM is a bit of a weird term if you talk to an engineer, or you talk to one of us, or you talk to an architect, we probably have three very different meanings for it.
Mm-hmm.
So my purpose from an energy modelling point of view, I take architectural information, so floor plans, sections, elevations, and create a 3D representation geometry of their information so we can simulate it and run our assessments for it. Essentially, my step's probably the lowest maintenance for everyone else. You know, I can fly under the radar and say, guys, have you got these plans? And then I'll go and build it, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I need. But the rest of it, so say if you're simulating and you're doing more assessments and things, you'll probably need to annoy an architect more often than I would. I can get away with it. I'm not that annoying. I don't pester. Well, I might in the office, but I don't necessarily externally. But essentially all I do is take the information provided and build a 3D representation model.
Wow.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's very interesting. And like, see, over like the years you've been doing this,
Yeah.
like I'm sure you've seen changes, like, you know, in the, like, you know, the way that things are supposed to be built. Or...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting one. So obviously technology never stops. There's always going to be improvements. Everything's always going to get better. The software has gotten so much better. I remember when I started, it used to take us about 2 weeks to do a model. Like, take the geometry, put it in IES, and someone literally just populate it, just get it to the point that someone can hit run. It was 2 weeks, even for a small model. Now we could do that in about 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy how much is advanced. I like it. I like that it changes so much, but other people might not see it that way. I like the changes when it comes to things like that.
Yeah. Would there be any particular software program you use, like, to like help build the models that you use for energy simulation?
Ooh, well, it depends on the company. Personally, within our firm, well, that is the ones that the company that I work for, we build our models in Revit.
Mm-hmm.
But the information that we get from architects typically comes in the form of drawings, so it's AutoCAD. So what I have to do is I'll take the AutoCAD drawing, might have to scale it up, do a few things in CAD, then import it into Revit, build the geometry in Revit, and bring it into the IESV software.
Okay.
So it's a few different sort of exchanges, you know, different softwares translating between them. I'll also use PDF markup for things like that. If there's limited information from an architect or anything like that that we can't measure within a CAD, we just get a PDF. You can do it in one of those. It's great.
Okay.
So there's workarounds for everything, but I would say my basic softwares that I work with is Revit, CAD, and PDF software.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, quite a range there.
Yeah, just a slight range. Yes.
So would you, like, is there any sort of training that you went through, or is there any particular paths that like you found useful, or would you say a more hands-on approach, like learning on the go, is better, or like, you know, maybe would work for some people?
I mean, I wouldn't say one's necessarily better than the other. It depends on how you learn.
Okay.
So personally, I'm a jumping at the deep end, hope you swim.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my training personally has been either self-taught or tutorials or things like that. I'm not what you would probably I'm not what you would call classically trained. I didn't come into this through an engineering point of view. You know, this was never my sort of goal career. I fell into it, fell in love with it, and kept going.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely courses out there to do BIM modelling or geometry modelling or whatever you want. I just didn't go about it that way.
Okay, yeah.
So, you know, there's different ways to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
There's different methods to get into it, but whatever works as long as you get the right end result.
No, that's actually really great to hear, because I, like, so many people I know from school, or a lot of my friends, they maybe go along a certain career path.
Yeah.
And they like realise 3-4 years in, I don't like this. Like,
Yep.
am I supposed to do this for the rest of my life? So it's great to hear that, like, with this, like, you know, it is like okay to transfer, like, maybe to this sector, and you can learn a like wide range of like things, like techniques.
Yeah, well, you're never pigeonholed when it comes to things like this. You know, the beauty of engineering is anyone could do it. You don't necessarily have to train that way. You don't necessarily have to do anything. You know, as long as you have the desire to learn and improve, sky's your limit.
That's great. That's
Inspirational quote for you guys.
That's a good
Congratulations.
inspirational quote.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Alison, you mentioned software there, part of the CAD family. So since you mentioned that, do you know what time it is?
I don't.
It is time for the CAD yourself on section.
Unreal. I love that. That was spectacular.
So this is just it's specific for this episode. But it's just a number of wee facts. I did some research in CAD technology and some software. So just a number of wee facts for you and our listeners as well.
Hit me with them.
Okay. So Revit software, as you mentioned, is issued by Autodesk, and they supply a variety of other different software packages like AutoCAD. And did you know they supply one called Inventor?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you hear?
Yeah. Oh, I am up to date with my CAD. I am an Autodesk gal.
Inventor, like, you know, I was just like, I noted that because that's a cool name. That is a cool name.
They have a lot. There's one called Mudbox and one called Maya. They're great too.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, you're like the guru.
I am. Like, if I like something, I learn about it. That's it.
Okay. Did you know the initial release of Revit was on April 5th, 2000?
I did not know that.
So, do you know what that means? It's an Aries.
No comment.
No
comment.
What's your star sign?
I don't think I'm compatible with it.
Oh,
with Revit. That's upsetting. Is Scorpio compatible with that? I don't even know.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Do you think?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know enough.
Neither do I.
To dispute that.
Should we just say yes and say it's a match made in heaven? Yeah, we'll go with that.
I'll read your horoscope next time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
How many CAD softwares do you think there are in existence?
Oh, I don't like that question. That's mean. Oh, you're going to make steam come out of my ears. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. I don't even think I could fathom a guess. Softwares or like plugins and add-ins and things?
I'd say softwares, but there's like, what is it? To be honest, it is kind of like it is a hard question because I'm talking about current softwares in issue today, whereas there maybe have been ones presently that are no longer in use.
Oh, I wouldn't. I have no idea. Do you know? Do you have a number?
I do know.
Right,
I've researched this specifically.
Okay. Put me out of my misery. What have we got?
Would you be surprised to learn there's 50?
Stop.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Yeah, no, 50.
That's no. And I thought I knew everything.
No.
That's upsetting.
What is it? I'll give a link to this, like for the podcast episode, and just about a link to a list of them. I'm not going to list all of them because again that'll just be me listing things.
I mean, you could. We might be here for a few hours, but you could do it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well then, I've got another fact for the catch yourself on section. Did you know a man called Charles Eastman, or Chuck to his friends, is often noted, and get this term, as the father of BIM?
No.
And he is a key contributor to development of building information modelling. Yeah.
You found like the Santa Claus of BIM now, haven't you? I mean, I'm not. I have no issue with that fact. That's quite a good one.
Yeah.
You've really done your research.
Yeah, Charles Eastman, or Chuck, if we're friendly with him. So he was a professor at Georgia Tech Architecture, and he is the founder of the Digital Building Lab.
Smart man.
So he's a smart man. He's I think a lot of stuff.
It's not a bad legacy to have.
Yeah. But probably I think it's a lot of stuff we would get up to with our energy simulations. Probably derives from that, or like gets some form of that.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
It's funny, you could probably trace a lot of what we do right the way back.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to take the time to do it, but we probably could.
And just
That would be another podcast. That would be,
Yeah,
be another
that's
couple
another.
hours down the line there. So
And just as a wee dedication to Charles, so he had a really prosperous career. He started as an architect, then a professor, and then was one of the forefront researchers into computer aided design and the rights for computer aided design. He wanted to develop like most of it, and he literally wrote the BIM handbook.
okay.
So what's that phrase? It's like, oh, you know it. You wrote the book on it.
He literally wrote that book.
Wrote the book on it. So yeah.
Imagine being able to say that to someone. Oh, I wrote the book on it, and you're not lying. That would be a pretty good thing to be able to say. Maybe we should write a book.
So that was a CAD yourself on section. Thank you for joining.
Fantastic.
So Alison, back to you. I just have a few questions about your work.
Right.
Can you give me like some examples or lists of buildings you've worked on?
Ooh, what do we want to know about?
Say the likes of like some hotels, like the size of them or the number of rooms.
Okay. Hotels. Not to blow my own horn, but I could probably do them in my sleep.
Ooh, nice.
I've done a fair. I mean, it's only been about 6 years, but I've done a few, more than a few.
Can you remember the biggest hotel you've ever worked on?
Oh, right. So, let's see. If we're talking stories wise, probably there was one in Paddington, London, that was about 20 stories and a basement.
Oh,
that was a big one. That was a good one.
That sounds a big one.
Yeah, it was fun. I like that one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you say that's the biggest model you've ever built, or like how long did that take you to model in Revit?
Oh, that one probably not as long as you'd think.
Okay.
Like I said, if I can build hotels in my sleep, they're just so straightforward. I know exactly what I'm doing. I can fly through them, so I could probably build something like that in 3 days if I have the right information.
I know we were talking about training packages earlier, but you should be given the training packages from the sounds of this. Okay.
Oh well, maybe not.
So everyone, if you would like to learn Revit, please contact Alison directly.
I mean, what I do is very niche, so I don't really know how many people are gonna contact me from that. But you know, by all means, if they want to pick my brain, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Back to biggest. Ooh, biggest project I ever worked on, I actually think was when I just started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was a very big learning curve because, like I say, I like to jump in at the deep end and just go for it and hope I swim. Mm-hmm. Which I did swim, so it's fine, you know, worked out well. But I think it was student accommodation in Liverpool. And geometry-wise, it was 3,000 spaces. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wasn't small, and those were the days when the computer couldn't cope with a model that size. Mm-hmm. The software couldn't cope with a model that size, so that took... I remember coming into the office 8 o'clock in the morning and loading the geometry into IES, and lunchtime it was only halfway done. It hadn't imported into the software. Now, to put that in context, if we were to do the same model now, it'd be done in about 10 minutes.
Wow.
So it was some serious going. Yeah. Wow. That was my biggest. Yeah. It's a good one.
Just like context for listeners, spaces, like they're pretty much another name for the rooms in a building or zones. Yeah. So you imagine 3,000 zones. Yeah. Like, it's a big boy. It's a big boy.
Spaces would be the areas that you would are physically present. You could, you know, there's walls bounding them. You could walk in. Although that one actually did include risers, so it was a fair amount. Well, yeah, it was still a very big model.
Okay. Well, yeah. So what is your favourite thing to do in Revit? Like, any particular features you like, or what do you enjoy seeing?
Oh, features? Yeah. See, I'm very set in my ways. I know what I like and I know what works. Yeah. So, no, I'm not complaining about Revit. Mm-hmm. Please, Revit gods, don't come at me for this. They do change things with new releases quite a lot. We're quite lucky we can work in the most recent version of Revit. When the new one comes out, I'm all over that like a rash. I think it's great.
Okay.
They change things. It annoys me. But what I like most is that I can keep it consistent between versions for myself. So I have a lot of key-in commands and things that speeds up how I model. I could probably do most of the model without having to click a button. I'll just type on the keyboard and away I go.
Oh, wow. So,
yeah.
Like a proper, like, you know, like hackers or the Matrix.
I feel like a hacker. I probably don't look like one, but yeah.
Yeah, you're hacking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's class. I always loved
Just call me Neo, you know, I'll just tap away into the mainframe, it's fine. But yeah, that's probably my favourite feature, I think, because I can make every version consistent for me. Even though they change wee things, I can still keep it good for me. Yeah, that's mine, definitely.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's like, that's been really great to hear. We're kind of winding down on the modelling podcast at the minute, but I just want to sum up a few points we've talked about. So I've just got like pretty cool point from what you said there. Key in commands are key.
Oh, she's on pun form. This is brilliant.
So yeah, sum up. Key in commands are key. There are many different ways to train for, like in CAD softwares, and not just one straight way.
Yep.
And what else? I'm trying to think.
Just get stuck in.
Yeah, just get stuck in. And this role, like if you're ever thinking about maybe you want to change in your career, give Revit a go.
I mean, personally, I'm biased. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone. But, you know, I fell in love with it.
Okay.
Someone else might as well.
Yeah.
You never know.
Okay. Well, just before we finish, do you have any advice for prospective future CAD modelers or Revit modelers?
Let's see. Future advice. Don't panic. Never panic. It's only as bad as you make it. I have had a few times that I've been modelling and something's gone wrong and you can't figure out exactly what's gone wrong and you're freaking out a wee bit. But see, to be honest, at the end of the day, it's just a software. There's always an undo button.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. I like that. I really
do you like the positive spin on that? Yeah.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my best.
No, I'll put that as the like one of the like you know the bios or blurs for this like episode.
We don't get an undo button in life, but we do in Revit. It's
yeah,
great.
we do in Revit. So that's good. My advice, it's more just general. Slice of life phrase, but you don't know what it's like until you've been there and done it.
Oh, she's back with puns.
Yeah. I think, this podcast will just be me making puns.
I'm okay with that.
All the way through.
Yep.
And you'll just see, like, week by week, the, like, viewers, like, or the listeners decrease.
Dwindling away.
And it's, like, less puns.
I think you'll have the opposite effect. I think more people try and pick up which pun she's doing this week. No.
That's always... Yeah. Do you ever get the feeling where... Or, like, maybe you're in a conversation and you slip in a pun.
And they miss it.
And the other person doesn't get it. And your heart kind of breaks inside. Whereas, like, I try to make my puns as obvious as possible so people don't miss them.
You're like in a 80s sitcom where you're just stopping for the ba-dum-bum.
The ba-dum-bum is in my head. Like that's it.
Pause for applause.
Pause for applause.
Proceed.
That's it.
Yeah, it's not a bad way to do it. It's not bad. But I like the puns. I appreciate the puns. They're good. Especially when they're on topic and on brand. I like them.
And this is another piece of life advice. Make puns along the way.
Life is short, make a pun.
That's such a good summary. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. If you can check out the Carbon Cli-MATES Instagram at carbon_Cli-MATES. I will have a link to the software packages we discussed here today so you can learn more about them. And everyone, thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.